Welcome, everybody, to the DS Principal Show. My name is Mr. Smith, and I am once again joined by students in the TV media class here to ask some questions about school culture and school happenings. Today, who do we have with us today?
I'm Alex Johnson. I'm a sophomore.
I'm Vincent Stefanelli, and I'm a senior.
I'm Bobby Saber. I'm a senior.
I'm Luca Mariano. I'm a junior.
Well, welcome, guys. I hope this week has been good after the long break. I know that you guys have prepared some questions to ask of me and of the school. So who's going to start?
I'll start us off. So an easy question here. How was your Thanksgiving break?
It was great. For me, it's one of my favorite times of the year. You can't go wrong with a holiday that involves food, family, and football. And there was plenty of that. I came to the DS game. Mr. Mariano was the defensive MVP and played a phenomenal game on Thanksgiving, so I was able to witness that. Mr. Stefanelli almost had a huge pick, which was cool. So I know that the result wasn't what you guys had hoped, but I thought you guys really fought hard. And for me, it's been a tradition. I think I have gone to a high school football game for probably the last 46 years in a row. Since I was a little kid, it's just something I always have done, and I love it and enjoy it. And then after that, it was just great spending some time with family and friends, having a little downtime, a little relaxation. And how about yourselves? How was Thanksgiving break for you guys?
Good. It would have been nice to win the game, but it was still a great experience.
Yeah.
And, the time off, it's very relaxed, and a holiday warranted on family is really nice, and food, and it's a nice change of pace.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Love spending time with my family. I had to host, so I had my mom's side over. It was fun. Got to watch football, seeing people I haven't seen in a while. So just a family part of Thanksgiving is always great.
Yeah, like Luca said, just hanging out with the family, watching football. The break, I could finally heal from football. And
Yeah.
we'll see when I can hit the gym. It's still kind of hurting, but it's just like a nice break, time off from school.
And I know that we also enact the no homework, no assessment piece too, and we feel that that's really well deserved for you guys. So hopefully that was kind of a nice break too, where you could put your backpacks away for a few days and just not have to deal with that. And because I know that you work very hard. So yeah, all in all, it sounds like everyone had a pretty good Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So right kind of into the harder hitting questions, I guess. How do you think we could build better leadership in the school within the student body?
Yeah, I think it's an excellent question. So I've given some thought to this, and I'd love to see the student council role increase within the school, and I'd love to see student council and the class advisors, the class officers have more of interfacing with the students. And maybe that means they get to meet with the students more during flex block to have like small assemblies. I'd love to see the student council do much more outreach in terms of surveys to students, like what are things you guys want to see, what is something that's of interest to you. I know that we've talked to the student council advisors. And student council does some nice fun things, but I think it would be good if they could also delve into some of the things that matter to the student body on a daily basis. So I think certainly involving them more and having more opportunities for them to communicate with the rest of the student body is really important, and it's something that Mr. Omar and I are thinking about incorporating into next year, looking at maybe more opportunities where we pull you guys from a class or from flex, where you can have more opportunities to meet with each other just to talk about, hey, what's going well and what's not going well. Who has the next question?
All right, that's
Bobby.
So a lot of people are asking, why can't flex block be optional for all grades, not just C?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Flex block, the story of flex block was created for many, many reasons. As you know, we have a later school start, and in many cases, our start and our end time is later than most schools that we compete with in athletics and other programs. So because of that, we needed to have some flexibility at the end of the day where we could dismiss students for athletic events. We also needed a place where we could have a larger music and choral group, because right now what was happening is students were taking these academic classes. They also wanted to do band and music, but they couldn't fit it all in. So the flex block enables music students to also take classes at that time if that's something they want to do. We can dismiss students. Also, it has now become kind of more of the norm of our culture that extra help is given during flex if a student does need extra help. because I think teachers are finding that students are not as willing to stay after school after 3:10 because everything's been pushed back. Now practices, you're limited on time, jobs after school things that you're engaged in, whether that's lifting clubs or other sports outside of school. And so we really felt like it's important to have it. Now, why can't it be for all grades? Two things. One is pretty much law. State law requires so much time on learning for students. Seniors are exempted from some of that. Seniors don't have to have the same amount of class time as juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. So it's really a law that we consider flex block time part of the instructional time. Now, what you do with it can be a wide range of things, and that's one of the reasons why we can't just open it up. The second reason is I think it's really important that as seniors you be given that option because you're on the cusp of going up to college, a job, you're moving on as an adult. Freshmen and sophomores in particular, I think, really need to get that extra help and need to have that mechanism where they can get some of that work done before their after school sports or activities or drama, music. And then with the juniors, we've actually thought about maybe a second semester thing down the road where we give the juniors second semester free from flex. We just want to ensure that kids still have an opportunity to get extra help if they want it. Seniors, we feel like, look, you're young adults and you're going to be making decisions on your own next year at school, at work, whatever. So you need to be given, you've already probably figured out what your workload is. Freshmen and sophomores, it's still a learning experience. And then, frankly, the other one is just the legal part where they have to have so much time on learning for grades 9, 10, and 11.
Right.
But it's a really good question, and I understand why people say, oh, it'd be great if we could go certain days or not be here. You can still get dismissed from a parent or a guardian, but we'd also like for you to be here because we think it's important that you're still part of that school day, and it's also when a lot of our clubs meet, just because going later has been good in the sense that you guys hopefully are getting some more sleep or just, waking up and it's not as dark. The downside to the later start is we get out later, and that has really changed a lot of things around in our school culture, both for students and for teachers.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yep.
All right, moving on to our fourth question. This is about admin, and so how have the changes in admin at the high school been this year for you?
Yeah, so Ms. Keegan went on to the middle school, which I think is a really good opportunity for her to provide some stable leadership there. Mr. Amar has come in as a new assistant principal. The good news is he already knew the students and the culture because he has been here as a guidance counselor. And in some ways, being in guidance, he really kind of knew a lot of the ins and outs anyways. So he's worked very hard, and he's done a really nice job. I know Ms. Keegan's doing a really good job at the middle school. So that transition actually is a win-win for the high school because if she can get the middle school kids prepared well for high school, academically, socially, emotionally, that benefits all of us. And then ultimately it's providing another opportunity for administration for Mr. Amar and to break into that. And let's face it, as a high school, I've been here 10 years, my 11th year. At some point I move on and retire. There needs to then be another person. It's like you guys go on and graduate, and guess what? Another senior and junior class comes along. And it's not that you're not important. It's just time keeps moving. And you keep moving on to new things, and eventually some of us move on to new things, and whether it's retirement or moving states or changing jobs or whatever the case may be. So I think overall, Luca, it's been really good. It's been really positive. I think getting new ideas is always good. Mr. Amara is very tech savvy, which is great. So he's been kind of showing me a few things I think that I was aware of but maybe wasn't using.
Yeah.
And, it's like anything else. You can always learn something new.
Great.
So our fifth question, what is your favorite meal from the school cafeteria?
From the school caf, huh? Well, I would say, no offense, I don't think it's the pizza. Not a huge fan of school pizza. I wish they could up that a little bit. But I would say sometimes the bowls that they provide, some of those bowls are pretty good, whether it's like the pork bowl or whatever. And if it's got a little bit of spice in it, I'm all over it. I don't eat it a lot here, but once in a while if I'm lazy and I haven't made a lunch or just smells really good, I'm like, yeah, I'll take one of those. So I would say, how about you guys? What's sort of something that you kind of say, oh, all right, it's a decent day. What do we got?
Well, I also usually will bring a lunch,
Okay.
pack a sandwich, and like snacks in the day because I feel like I like to eat all throughout the day.
Yeah, yeah,
But,
kind of graze, right?
Yeah, but from the school, I would agree with the bowls.
Yeah.
The Asian rice bowl is pretty
Yeah,
good. That's probably my favorite.
Pretty good.
one.
My favorite's probably like the nacho bowl. It's got chips, lettuce, tomato, and you just pour like your chicken
Yeah,
on it or your protein.
Can't go wrong with a chip,
Yeah,
right?
it's my favorite one.
Okay, how about you guys?
I'm really liking the chicken that they've been having on Mondays, and then also the orange chicken that they have on.
Yeah, all right, I've had the orange chicken once or twice, yeah. Bobby?
Hasn't been happening a lot, but the grilled cheese and soup is
So good.
All right. Well, you're going to have to put that request in as a
Yeah.
senior to say, listen, I only have so many days here left at high school. I want some grilled cheese and like tomato soup, right? Or is it a chicken?
It's chicken soup.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty good.
And that's a comfort food go-to, right?
Yeah.
Especially when the weather's
Winter.
crummy and and you're freezing and you're like, I got to go from the main building to the calf, and even though it's a short walk, it's freezing, and you want to have something that's good. So, all right, I'd say put your plug into the food service, and I'm hoping in the next
Do it.
couple of weeks we see it before the holiday break.
Heard it here.
That's right. Bobby Sager's calling for grilled cheese and chicken soup.
We want it.
Next question is, what's the favorite thing they have in your office?
Favorite thing in my office. So, many of you know I'm a big sports guy, so I've got a lot of different sports things. I'm an Auburn football fan and all that, and those are fun things that I have. But I will say this. I'll get a little sappy here for a minute. My favorite thing in my office is probably this picture of my high school basketball coach and my middle school principal. And the basketball coach was also a principal, and it's entitled Three Principals, and they're just two people that were mentors to me and people that I looked up to. They were both All-American basketball players too, and kind of got me into basketball and coaching basketball. So for me, that's kind of my prized possession is my picture of Coach Kelly and Mr. Kaufman. They're just two people that made a big difference in my life, and that I'm grateful for the lessons I learned from them. How about you guys? Do you have things that like prized possessions that you carry on you, or that you have in your room at home, or something that has meaning to you?
I'd say in my room, I have two medals from Nike Outdoor Nationals from last year.
Awesome.
I'd say I'm very, very proud of those.
Yeah, good,
They're
a
on
really
display.
good memory. Nice.
I'd probably say what I just got on Thanksgiving, the Defensive MVP award.
Well deserved.
I mean, I started playing football freshman year, so it's kind of a new sport for me, and it's just great to, get up there and accomplish something like that. So it made me feel really good. And
Recognized for all your hard work.
yeah,
Yeah.
and especially to do it with, of course, these boys right here, with all the seniors, and just a great season. Yeah.
That's great. Bobby, how about you?
Probably like my flag football ring. Like I won it 2 years ago.
Nice.
We were like the underdogs in the whole tournament. And
Okay.
we came out on top.
Where was this? Like a local league that was established?
It's Mass Flag.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it was I think it was in like Taunton or something. like
Wow.
that. It was a far drive, but
Yeah.
we won on a game where.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that in college I played on this baseball team that we won the intramurals one year, and the same thing. You felt really good about
Yeah.
it because it was good high level stuff, and you're like, yeah, we worked pretty hard, but we had a lot of fun at the same time,
Yeah.
right? So, that's great. That's awesome. Who has our next question?
That's me. How much student and teacher input goes into decision making for the policy at the school?
Yeah, believe it or not, quite a bit. And so let me talk a little bit about how the student input happens. So we, at the beginning of this month, December, coming up in a week or so, you guys will have your town hall meetings. The seniors don't necessarily have them because you're almost on your way out, but you guys will have them in your classes. And during those meetings, you can talk about some things you'd like to see change in the school, some things you like, some things that you think could be improved or tweaked or changed. And that's brought to the class leaders, and then all those class leaders compile all that information, and they have a sit-down meeting with me and say, these are things that came from the junior class. These are the biggest priorities from the junior class. These are the priorities from the sophomores and the freshmen, et cetera. And then I then write a report back to the student council that explains if this is something we can do, if this is something that we can do later, or if this is something I can't do because of state law or whatever. And I will tell you that a lot of the changes that have happened around student body have come from those meetings. I'll give you a prime example. The idea that senior privilege is a year-long thing came from that. When I first got here, it was second semester only, and you can only do it 15 times. So you had to really space out how often you
Yeah.
did it. It was a nightmare for recording for the front office secretaries because they had to keep track of.
Yep.
You know, Luca has 12. He only has
Yeah.
3 more, and we said, okay, first of all, that's not a good use of her time. Second of all, look, if we're going to treat our seniors as the top class in our school, as on the cusp of being young adults, we need to give them the freedom and the flexibility of figuring out what they need to do to be successful, right? So I went to the school committee and put forth the promotion of senior privilege to a full year, unlimited. So you can base it like if on a given day you want to stay, fine. But if you 3 days in a row want to go every period you can do that too. That came out of one of those meetings where seniors said, hey, Mr. Smith, we're seniors now, and while we appreciate second semester, why not first semester? We're actually working on a lot of our applications for school. We sometimes need that time to, get a break from school. Why not? It'll help our mental health. It'll help us academically. And they sold the argument to me, and I said, yeah, let's do it. Things like that, things like the later start. Some students actually came forward and say, why do we start school so early in the morning? It's dark, it's cold, I'm exhausted. We also did homework-free weekends, came about because of that. So believe it or not, quite a bit. On the teacher side of things, they also have a good deal of input. So every department is represented by a department chair. English, social studies, math, science, they all have a department chair. And we meet monthly to discuss things that they want to see, new input. And we also have something called academic standards. So when a new course comes to DS, there's a group of teachers who basically have the approval of that process. I sit on that committee as one voting member, but I'm one voting member. I don't make the end of, the decision. There are certain things that I will decide as the principal, but there are other things that we leave to the teachers, and things like approving new courses. I'll give you an example. Next year, we're going to have a marketing course, like a business course, and we're also going to have another computer science course. The year after that, we're going to have a robotics course, as well as an interdisciplinary course between TV media, art, and English. And those come about because of teacher input and what teachers would like to see into the curriculum. So believe it or not, quite a bit. And then there are other things that are like state mandates or things that are determined by school committee policy. So there, you guys will learn in life, there are certain things you have control over and there are other things you don't. But in a public school, there's quite a bit where your input matters and is really important.
Okay, moving on to our 8th question. What are your plans for winter break?
So for me, a chance to get together with family again. It's nice. Probably see some extended family because we have a little extra time. I'll probably catch up on a few of our sports teams and catch a couple of their games, which I always like to do. Certainly spend time with my 2 dogs, getting outside, and just really kind of winding down, just really sort of, chilling out and relaxing. I enjoy the season, and I also look forward to some of the bowl games that take place during the winter break. So,
well, let's right into our next question. So for college football, what are your picks for a national champion, and then which bowl games are you excited to watch?
So I told you a few minutes ago I'm an Auburn fan, so I'm still devastated by that 4th and 31, and to this day I have no idea how that happened, but it happened, and that's the beauty of college football, and that's why I do love the sport, because the pageantry, the rivalry, the traditions. They play for things like Paul Bunyan's axe, and they play for this trophy that's a pig, and they do all these crazy things. It's just a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys will go on to colleges where even if you're not playing yourselves, that you go to those events because they're kind of a part of the history and the lore of college and college football. My pick, I've got a team that I want to win, and then I've got a team that I think will win, okay? I really would love to see Washington win it all. I think Michael Penix is a blast. I think their defense is fun. I think that they're a fun team. I think, in the end, Georgia's going to win it all, just because I feel like they probably are the most complete team. I'm also somebody that likes to see a difference and a change, so to have them win 3 years in a row to me is a little boring. It's kind of like when Alabama was doing it. I was like, they're great, but move on. Let's get somebody else, right? Some fresh blood. And as far as what bowl games I'm excited to watch, I always love watching the Rose Bowl, and the reason for it is the backdrop. If you're not a college football fan, you can at least appreciate this. You've got the San Gabriel Mountains in the background, and that whole area is beautiful. This time of year, obviously, everything's brown here. It's still green. There's still roses everywhere. That stadium is packed. It's generally really nice weather, and it's a 5 o'clock game, so it starts in the light, but it ends in the dark. It just has this cool lore. But so I always love watching the Rose Bowl games. I had a tradition where my mother was French Canadian, and she would make these French Canadian meat pies, which, if you've never heard of them, they're kind of like a pot pie, but it involves different meats. Long story short, she has passed, but my sister-in-law still makes them. So the tradition always was we had meat pies on New Year's Day and watch the Rose Bowl with family members. So it kind of makes me think of my mom, and believe it or not, she was a big college football fan. And so that, to me, is one of the reasons why it all kind of comes back to family and that connection. The games are fun. I'm always happy for some of the teams that are in it for the first time and getting a chance, or the James Madisons or the Liberties. I think it's great for those schools. It's definitely a letdown when it's all over, because then you realize, okay, it's now the winter. My local team, the Patriots, are terrible. So what do I do? And so then I count the days till the next college football season.
Yeah.
How about you guys? If you're into college football, is there a team that you think can win it?
I'll kind of agree with you about how, the teams keep winning and winning, like the same teams, Georgia, Alabama. So yeah, it's definitely. I would like to see. I'd like to see Auburn get a dub, but I don't think it's going to happen this year, but I really would. Auburn's great, they got some good players. They're pretty solid. They just can't seem to connect.
No.
They just can't seem to connect.
I agree with you that Georgia's like the team, but if there's a team that could do it, if it's not Georgia, it's going to be Michigan.
Michigan, okay.
Watching that game, it was defense, offense was like great, and Georgia's got a new QB.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't do it. Maybe J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, maybe, right? That's true. Michigan's kind of been on a magical run.
Yeah.
So that could be.
Beating Ohio for the third straight year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I would like to see Oregon win it, because
okay.
That's my favorite college football team.
Yeah.
And they're I think they're ranked 5th right now. So if they beat Washington, because that's who they play next, they'll be in the draw for the national championship.
14.
So that would be a good game. I think they can do that. I think that's manageable. But I think probably Georgia and Michigan will win it all. A lot of people were hating on JJ last year and said he couldn't do it. He's really had a good year.
Yeah.
So I like that kind of story.
Yeah, he is a talented athlete. And then, of course, next year it's expanding to 12 teams.
Yeah.
So it's going to be crazy. One of the cool things they're going to do is the first round games will be held at the higher seeds home stadium. So can you imagine, Michigan hosting Alabama in the Big House in a playoff game? I mean, I think it's just going to get great. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let's hope that the teams do well, that guys stay healthy, and that it provides for an exciting end of season for us. And for those of you who move on to other sports and all that, best of luck to that. And that I'll be counting down the days to college football again. I love it with an absolute passion. So, listen, I hope you guys have a fantastic December and finish off strong before we head out of here for winter and holiday break. And it's been a pleasure, and stay safe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.